And welcome back, rail fans. Welcome back to another episode of Mr. Steve's Trains. And I am your host, Mr. Steve. And this is another low-budget production. Lately in the news and on the YouTube, you've probably seen a lot of hype about the new Lionel Vision Line Big Boy. And while it is spectacular, I thought we would go the opposite direction. And we're going to take a look at one of my only retro trains. First, I'd like to take a quick second and dedicate this video to a longtime friend, Randy K. Randy K, he knows who he is. I don't want to say his name out. Call him out, but I will call out Peachy's Trains. This video is for her. If you're not familiar with Peachy's Trains, she's a lovely young lady. She does a lot of 027 Lionel. And so that's what we're going to get into today. So if you get a chance, check out her channel, Peachy's Trains. She's down there in Georgia. She's a real peach. Now, given that, let's go take a look and see what we got going on. Walked into the old makeshift train room here. Look at that down there. This is a 1970s DT&I Lionel engine. Pretty plain and basic. Now, when I first started collecting trains, I haven't ran this engine in 12 years. It's been sitting in a box. And, well, we dug it out. So there it is. When I first got it, I paid $25 on eBay for this engine. $25 is not much. Today you can find these engines for retailing decent, good condition, $50 to maybe $60. These Lionel had built this engine from the 1950s through the early 1990s. So there are plenty of them out there, different road names. You Lionel experts, MPC era guys, you probably know exactly what engine this is. To me, it's just the 8111 DT&I. Let me show you a few things about it. When I got it, it was pretty nice. And I wanted a cheap engine just so I could do this. Carefully pop that off of there. Now you can see the black soot. I wanted to try my hand at weathering. And I didn't want to do it on a new engine, an expensive model. It looks pretty good. All it was just a little paint thinner, a couple drops of black paint, mix it together, get it real runny. And you just literally just slop it on there. Slop it on, and then you brush it off. And then the paint will sit down on all the cracks. The heavier you wipe it off, the more paint you take, naturally. So, trial and error. I put a blue diesel fuel cap on it. I put some new freshly painted silver bolts on the front. I had to go online, went to a local train show. I found a replacement bell, found the replacement horn. Both pieces were missing. You don't get much for 25 bucks, let me tell you. Repainted the silver frames. Repainted the window frames silver. Excuse me. Looks pretty good. Gave it some black highlights, so silver bolts on there. Looks pretty good. Not bad for my first little weathering job. Got nice and dirty and silt all over it. Now, these engines, sometimes you'll find some that have a round radio antenna on the front. Some have the plastic green marker lights. Some have red. There's other variations in that, I haven't seen them. Now what I've done to this, you can see in there, I added windows. Just a cellophane, a little CA glue, and it holds it right in there. Pretty neat. Originally, you see, that's the extent of your lights right there. Just a couple plastic nubs. That's what you get back in the 1970s. Can make you really appreciate the new trains. Now let me show you what I did here. This here is a coat hanger wire. I took a coat hanger and a pair of needle nose pliers, made me a holder with a round base of wire, and I took JB Weld, mixed some JB Weld, and held it in there, and it works like a champ. Took the wires, ran some wiring, soldered it to the motor where the front light power comes in, soldered me a ground on there. Real easy, real simple. Anybody could do this. Now this engine wasn't in the best shape. You guys are going, oh my God, you desecrated a Lionel engine. Like I said, there's a lot of these out there. I tried my hand at painting. I just kind of painted up the trucks a little bit. You got a 2-roller pickup. Simple gears, 1 motor, free rolling wheels in the back. Oh, to note, this is rubber drive wheels on there. No magnet traction, not on these. This was part of originally, here's your switch, here's your forward and your reverse. I taped off everything. I repainted the frame black. Looks pretty nice. You can kind of see that was the original color there. It was getting a little bit of rust on it. What else we did? Oh, we just painted some white highlights on the rails. A little white on the step. You know, you got to think safety here. Happy trains, happy rails. All right. All right. So that was my pet project in weathering. Now, if I can do this, let me give you an example there. There we go. It just lights up like that. All right. You take this cap, we're going to slip it right back on there. Take our handy dandy screwdriver. If I don't get this on like real fast, we're just gonna skip it and I'll come back to it after the video. But I want to try and get that on there. I think this is gonna be a problem. Oh, look at that. The simplicity of older engines. 1 screw and the whole cap comes off. 1 screw, it's back together. There we go. Now, back in the day, we had no whistles on these. No horns, no chuffing, no smoke. This was part of a ready run set in the 1970s. Pretty simple as it gets. All right. The 027 train, this is the one Lionel car that was probably actually an O gauge. And this one is from 1973. That's a nice Sentinel from 1973. I got my Tab Cola, which was part of the Coca-Cola company. Try and zoom in there a little bit. This Tab Cola in the 1970s, to those who don't know, was the original Diet Coke. Before there was Diet Coke, we had Tab Cola. And that's from 1974. I got my DT&I 027. And this is all the 027 cars I own. Funny story. Okay, that's from 1974. We got our Werner's boxcar. Werner's ginger ale, if anybody doesn't know. I don't think it sells real big outside, maybe down in Ohio and Indiana. Okay, this is from 1977. Werner's is a ginger ale cola. And then we got I Love Michigan, It's an 027. Okay, this was from 1986. But it's an 027, so we threw it in there. This is Winter Wonderland Railroad, Poinsettia Farms. That's actually from 2003. I can't even remember where I picked that up. Maybe it was a garage sale somewhere. And this here is the work caboose. This originally went with the DTI engine ready run set. I don't have any of the original cars that go with it. I kind of picked this up piecemeal here and there. This was, again, it was an inexpensive find. We tried our hands at weathering, you know, painted the brake wheel, couplers, the wheel trucks, window frames. We just tried to kind of age it and give it some color. This is my first attempt at weathering. All right. Nice little set. It's so weird. No chuffing, no smoke, no bells. But this is the way we used to enjoy it back in the day. Oh, and this is the original box. See how it says O and 027 gauge? When I used to have HO trains when I was a kid. All right. This is Werner's boxcar 6-7809. It's pretty cool. You got the original box. So when I got into O gauge, I didn't realize that the O and 027 were the same. I didn't realize they were actually different scales until I started putting them together on the track. And then went, wait, why is this one bigger and this one smaller? Started doing my homework and I realized tomato and a tomato are not the same. Well, at least I thought they were the same. Potato, potato, right? Two different words, same thing. O and 027 are not the same. Lesson learned. And I quickly fell in love with the O scale and quickly fell out of love with 027. I a little OCD like that. I like everything to be the same. All right. So this is what we look like when we're lit up. I couldn't get over the fact that even trains back then, Lionel didn't put a light in the cab. And this is the front. There's your marker lights in 1970s. That's hilarious. All right, what do you say? Let's get this tugboat moving. Yeah, here's your forward. Here's your reverse. We're in neutral right now. We're gonna pop this forward. There we go. I'm gonna come over here and get on the old Z4000 here. And let's see if we can get this baby to run. All right, that's about 12 volts in the track. And that moves pretty good. Not bad for a train that hasn't ran in 12 years. I mean, I took it around a couple of loops, oiled the motor, put a couple drops. Well, I shouldn't say I didn't oil the motor. I don't want to put oil directly in an electric motor. I just put a couple of drops on the pivot points, gears, wheels, you know. Just real light, small. I got this fancy dancy tripod now. We're just cruising right along. Peachy's Trains. I told you I was going to do this. That's the old 27 gauge train right there. What do you guys think? That's old school right there. 1970s, that's how we were doing it. Yeah, now we're going to work on this loop. Let's see if we get her. I'm going to try and pop this camera out of this cradle. Hopefully I don't drop it. See when there's a break in the track to activate the crossing gate. So whenever time it hits that dead spot, then the train wants to slow down. That's the action cam shot right there. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I got a kick out of digging all this stuff out. I think I'm going to keep it. That's my vintage Lionel for 1970s. Let's do one high-speed pass. That's the fun thing about running conventional. You just crank up the power. Trying to turn off some of the lights in here. See, that light in the back of the cab works really nice. Really nice. All right, we're going to try this. See the sparks? That's just raw power, right? Pretty cool, pretty cool. I step on my own train by accident here. Well, don't die right there. Oh, look at that. I cut the power too low. Hit that dead spot. All right, we want to get one last shot. Oh, I just realized I didn't even have the bridge lit up. My bad. Looks pretty cool. I'm impressed. I like the light in the back. All right, folks, I think that does it for me. That does it for us down here in the low budget production. The production's so low, we're just a mere 12 inches off the floor. And as we like to say, until next time, happy rails.